Hello, hi, good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to. I'm very happy to come in here. I am Horace Lee. I'm the director of OpenInfra Asia, which is a very newly set up regional hub from OpenInfra Foundation. So I'm currently the staff from OpenInfra Foundation, and I'm mostly to working with the multiple communities in Asia and supporting the regional community and market growth and supporting the community ecosystem to collaborate with each other. So we just had the latest Open Infrastructure Summit in June in Vancouver. I'm not sure if any of our Vietnamese community come into Vancouver to attend the summit or have any chance to attend the previous summit before. So Open Infra Summit has been, previously it's OpenStack Summit, and it has been running for multiple years, and this year it is the 22nd summit that we have hosted globally. Yes, so today I'm very happy to come here and share with our Vietnamese community about what is the latest trend and what is the thought from foundation and what is the update from the global community, so people can be easier to getting connected with the global community. Oops. I'm sorry, the next page button seems to not working. The green button, I'm sorry, yeah, sure. Yes, so last year, I wasn't here. So last year, it was my colleague, Jimmy MacArthur. He was here, standing in the middle. So I used this photo to show foundation is always connected with the various communities all around the world. And this year, I'm really happy to, on behalf of foundation, to come over and getting connected with the community. So probably most of the people have already know, we previously is OpenStack Foundation, and we reshaped the foundation and expanding our missions to Open Infrastructure Foundation later on. So today I would also want to take a little time to looking back why we're shaping up the Open Infra Foundation and what does it means. So we want to look at the word, look at the term word by word. So if you look at the open, it's easier to understand. It's basically open source as a very base meaning. So OpenStack, as well as the other project that is currently under our foundation, is all open source. But if any of you have already been engaged with the community and have been know little about our community, it's more than open source. In the open infrastructure community, we have driven the whole ecosystem growth and the project development under the philosophy of the 4 opens, which is open design, open source, open development, and open governance. So we provide open source solutions under these 4 opens to make sure our project is truly open source instead of the open core model, which is another typical model developed in the open source world. And for infrastructure, it's very easy to understand. Our open source solution is targeting to provide the solution for infrastructure layer. Yes. So if you look at a very typical software stack, the infrastructure layer is basically standing in the middle. So it's either providing a better hardware resource management and supporting the various hardware growth and adding more different type of hardware support. At the same time, it also provide a basic framework to support various applications and services. This is a very base, but also a very common area in the software stack for various industry service usage. So we're standing in the middle, and this is our mission, and what we're focused on. So if we look back a little bit of when we started, The first project like OpenStack was actually created in 2010. And we have passed through the 13 years journey, which is a very long time. And when the time we set up the open source OpenStack project, the whole world is still like mainly running under the proprietary way, like the software, especially the cloud computing infrastructure software is mainly dominated by the proprietary software, and it was controlled by very few like big software vendors. So at the time when we created this project, our mission is very simple. We want to create an open source project, a truly open community that builds the software for anyone to use and basically be able to do anything, and it can be used anywhere. Well, this is a very ideal mission for the community and for the foundation, but we can explain it one by one later on to understand why we need to do it and how we can achieve this. Okay. So then, like I mentioned, our community and our foundation started with the OpenStack, which is the very first infrastructure software that was developed under open source. And then with later on, more and more open source project was created that was targeting very specific area in the industry to solve the similar problem, and it works with OpenStack very well, like Ceph or CentOS or KVM. Those different type of open source project is used to targeting like solving the storage problem or providing a generic Linux-based OS that OpenStack can running on top of it. So those kind of open source, each one of them targeting various function or components in the infrastructure layer, but they can work seamlessly with together. And then with later on, the cloud computing area is growth fastly and generating new demands, new requests, new technologies. For example, like Kubernetes was created at the time when container is coming to the world and providing an easier, simpler workload packaging way. And you see, Rocky Linux was created. Later on, we kind of hosting the Kata containers, which I will share more of Kata containers later on, which is providing a secure container solution, and then edge computing becoming into people's mind, and Starling X was created later on. So all of this new technology was created and starting to seamlessly collaborate with each other to provide a very generic and broad infrastructure layer in open source way for the industry to use. So then, like I mentioned, our very initial mission was for anyone to do anything and to be used anywhere. And what does it mean? So we'll look at each term one by one. So basically, well, this is a very mission or ideal goal, but this is also like the kind of becoming the needle or becoming the philosophy for the whole community to set up the strategy and to work towards a very single target. So for anyone, it means basically the open source infrastructure software can be used by everyone or can be accessed by everyone. This is specifically like comparing with the proprietary software, which is mainly dominated by a single like big vendor or a few big vendor. And to do anything, like we basically be able to let community to talk together, develop together, to discuss what the software is going to be used and where it is going to be used, which means our software is aiming to be used everywhere. Okay, looking at the everyone term. So when the first community was started, the OpenStack community only had 150 community members, and it probably only started from the two corporations. One is NASA and one is Rackspace. And with this whole decade's development of the community and the software is getting grow, now the whole community is reaching like over 11,000 members individually in our community that is working on multiple projects, not just OpenStack. And for now, in total count, the whole the whole OpenInfra community has 700 plus organizations that is currently working or interacting with our community right now. And this is a very latest data globally, like I want to share with the local Vietnam community. So every year, our user survey counted the global user cases and counting how many compute cores that was under management of OpenStack. So you can see the whole trend is grows fastly as the OpenStack project is getting more and more mature and getting massively deployed all around the world. So by the end of 2022, there were more than 40 million cores under management of OpenStack globally. That was based on the user survey from the community. But I want to share a bit of more data from today. Is this year, our user survey have been finished but didn't come out yet. If everybody would be interested, you can probably notice the foundation announcement. This year, user survey will be coming out by October or November probably. And the single year of from 2022 to 2023, there were more than 5 million core added into the management of OpenStack even in a single year. So basically by the end of this year, there were already more than 45 million core of compute core that was under management of OpenStack. And looking at another figure that I want to share with you is, if this is the contributor diagram or network from the very latest website that we do the analytic of the OpenStack community contribution. So we call it Bitegia. So if you are interested or want to grab what is the latest engagement status from global communities and global corporations, you can find the data from Bitegia. So this is the very beginning of OpenStack contributors and the network. But 10 years later, if you're looking at from by the end of 2022, in a single year, the network of the contributors of OpenStack expanding massively from the very beginning of how many developers was contributing to the project. So now let's take a little time to look at anything like what OpenStack or the infrastructure software can do. Still, like what I mentioned before, at the very beginning of the project, the OpenStack was mainly contributed by two main companies or two organizations. One is NASA, so they use OpenStack for research, and another company is Rackspace, who use OpenStack to deploy their public cloud services. But when the OpenStack starting to grow up and more companies starting to contribute it in, starting to use and deploy OpenStack, you will see it's starting to expand into multiple industries, including currently, especially like telco is the very major area that is using OpenStack. But besides telco, there's finance, gaming, Blizzard is also one of the big users of OpenStack, and aerospace, advertising. You can see this is basically the infrastructure software has been expanding to very multiple industries that using the open source way to build their infrastructure software. And besides OpenStack, let's take another example of Kata containers. Kata containers is another top level of the open infrastructure software under OpenInfra Foundation. So this is a very lightweight container runtime that can protect container to be running in a virtual machine instance, but at the same time, it will provide the same level performance of the native container. So this is a very new project. It's not new actually. It started from 2017, but still, like this is a relatively new project. It's now, especially this year, it also gained a lot of milestones. Like this year, Ant Group was one of the main contributors to the Kata containers community. Not sure if everybody know Ant Group or not. So Ant Group is basically the provider or the providers of Alipay in China, and it is one of the largest online payment system in the world. So Ant Group is using Kata containers to providing a back support for the Alipay system that is basically used by billion users every day. Yeah. And besides Ant Group, actually this year, what I mentioned is the big milestone, is Microsoft this year starting to engage with Kata containers per community and starting to deploy Kata containers with their Microsoft Azure Kubernetes services for multi-tenant scenario that they use. So now Kata containers has been part of the Microsoft public cloud services. So taking that as example is like OpenStack and Kata containers, you can see at the very beginning, an open source project was targeting a very specific small area, but then with this, the open source way to develop and grow this software is starting to covering more and more industries. So now you can see like all of this project currently is under the OpenInfra Foundation, and I took OpenStack and Kata container as example, but actually we have like Starting X, which is targeting edge computing scenario for telco companies to use. Verizon is the largest user of Starting X. So Zool is a CI/CD software, and it's currently mainly used in automotive industry, and Volvo is one of the big users of the Zool for its software integration for CI/CD, and I believe BMW is another active user of Zool. And Blizzard, like I mentioned, is mainly use OpenStack for providing gaming support when it's providing the online gaming services. So you can see for now, open infrastructure and the open source infrastructure software is really helping the industry in the world for providing a very base support of its software. So with all of these, like Foundation has been growing the software for quite a long time, and we have collected a lot of feedback and a valuable like input from the industry as well. So where will the open infrastructure go tomorrow? That is, I want to share a bit more with the community today. Like I mentioned, the infrastructure is mainly landing in the middle, so it has two very major missions. One is to support and integrate more hardware support and adding more and more new type of hardware support. Another way is we're supporting a very new demanding or new emerging cases. So like artificial intelligence, for sure, AI is a very hot topic and grow fast starting from last year. So how to better support AI workload management and providing a better support for mass AI workload is a very latest demand for infrastructure layer software to be shaped and to be developed. And another consideration about the security, like I mentioned, Kata container is getting very popular this year and gain a lot of visibility from the industry. So security, container, confidential computing is definitely one of the hot topic that was under kind of group discussions right now around the world. And hardware integration, like the new type of hardware that I mentioned emerging these years, how to better support GPU, how to better manage the networking, how to better do the computing force network. Those are the hardware integration topic that was currently underdriven in the community right now. And now let's looking at the last piece, like where is the open source software is used. Yeah, still, like let's look at the very beginning. So when OpenStack was firstly introduced to the world, only 3 countries that is using the OpenStack software. But also with this decades of journey of the software development, now the whole software has been expanding to be used in 182 countries. So this is also like the very power of the open source software, like how we can expanding fastly and let the global to share the knowledge and intelligent property. So now the whole community, like I mentioned, it's already covers 11,000 members, and it currently in the community we have more than 6,000 contributors, and we're covering 182 countries. And now we can truly say like OpenInfra community is a truly global community, which is the achievement that we have got from the past 10 years. And then I want to talk about a little bit of like the world is changing, especially after pandemic. We also like, because community is growing dynamically, we collected feedback and we listen to the thoughts and inputs from the global community always. So we do see the trend or the changes that may happen these years. So one of the big announcements we had this year is we set up 2 regional hubs. One is in Europe, which is based in Brussels, and one is in Asia, which is based in Singapore. So these 2 regional hubs will closely working with the local community to drive regional demands and support the regional project to grow and interact with the global community. Yes. So nowadays, like I would like to specifically share about OpenInfra Asia because we're based in Asia. So the website is alive. If you're interested, you can also go to the website to see what is the current participant company and how it goes right now. But just to share the latest news is this month, we just completed all the documents of set up the OpenInfra Asia office, which is based in Singapore. Yes. So previously, like all of the members, global members based in Asia will be naturally be landed in the OpenInfra Asia members, but it doesn't mean like it only be landing in Asia instead of global. So in short, is all of these foundation members would still be global members, but at the same time, it is an add-on membership for OpenInfra Asia that basically we are able to connect the Asia communities closer and to drive the local demand. Yeah. So I think I want to share. I probably will share more like later on in the panel time. So basically. This year, for taking an example, like in Vancouver, we found like people traveling globally is getting harder and harder, and global travel is not fully recovered from pandemic time. And also the market is getting more intense, and also we have these competitions and conflict among countries these years, so which also kind of preventing people to travel globally and also kind of preventing people to effectively collaborate globally. So that's why like we want to create a regional hub. I mean, Foundation want to create a very regional hub. Geographically will be easier or convenient for people to meet up with each other. Like for example, traveling around Asia is definitely relatively easier than you travel across the ocean, right? And we also share the very similar time zone. You will not have the jet lag, so people will be easier to talk and discuss and set up meetings and talk about the common interest, also very similar in a small region than the global world. So this is also the reason behind like why we're setting up this regional hub. Yes. But at the same time, it doesn't mean like setting up a regional hub, we're preventing people from collaborating globally. So like I just mentioned, the regional hub is more like an add-on to the existing global collaboration. We try to make a benefit for the regional members or the regional community to easier collaborate each other. At the same time, you are still getting engaged globally. Yes. So this is This is the first OpenInfra Asia meeting that we hold in the Vancouver Summit. And you can see from the picture that basically all of the attendees are from the Asia community organizers and representatives. I can't remember, I think this meeting, we don't have Vietnamese organizers there, but we do have the Vietnamese organizers that was attending our Singapore meeting. That was the first meeting that we kind of talk about the strategy and talk about around setting it up. So yeah, again, like I'm really excited to come in here, and then I was really excited to see like our Vietnamese community, because I saw the community is growing fastly. I have heard a lot of news from Jimmy, my colleague, so I'm really excited to see the local community is getting more engaged and involved with the Asia community as well as the global one. Okay, so as the last page of my my talk, so I want to re-emphasize is the OpenInfra community is truly based on the 4 opens philosophy to build up the infrastructure software to provide to the world that basically it will be equally accessed by everyone, and it can be equally used to do anything, everything, and it can be equally be used everywhere. Yes, thank you.